Welcome back to Season 2 of Snubs and Dubs. We're talking about the Snubs and Dubs of the 87th Academy Award for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasen, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, how's it going?
Kyle, I am dip, diving, dodging that COVID once again. This is the third time someone I lived with has had COVID, and I have had to move other places and continuously test to make sure I'm not sick so I can go to my job and not get fired.
Awesome.
How are you doing, Kyle?
Great.
Good.
Not under any of those circumstances, so.
Want to trade?
No. Did you watch anything in the last week?
I've continued the Great Canadian Baking Show run.
Oh,
but
yeah?
It's too spoilery to discuss.
Okay.
However, I will say that food looks good.
Good.
How about you?
I would hope this looks good. I actually didn't do that much watching. I saw Thor, Love and Thunder again. Mm-hmm. And I think because of the way that I continuously thought afterwards about how much I didn't like it, I went in with astronomically low expectations and came out marginally more positive. So
your expectations were on the floor.
Yes. Because it's weird. I came out of the first time mostly positive, but definitely with issues. Yeah. And then the more I thought about it, the more I didn't like it because I was dwelling on those issues. And so between Thursday to Tuesday, I built this movie down in my head. And then by the time I saw it, I was at like rock bottom. And so it was only up to go. And so I think it was a better experience than I anticipated, but still mixed.
From the reviews that I've heard, I think you thought about the Thor story more than the director and producers did.
I think so too.
But I have not watched that, so that's a pretty empty chirp because I don't have the expertise to actually make fun of it. I wonder if they're going to bring Taika back to do more.
I don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting thing because Taika's got his Star Wars thing on the back burner too. So I'm wondering if maybe he'll get busy doing that. Maybe. Or they could do what they've done for so many other people attached to Star Wars properties where they announce that they're getting their own trilogy. The next movie that person puts out isn't the greatest and they get completely canned on that trilogy. So who knows? That might also happen. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's interesting to watch. Unlike Thor, Love and Thunder.
The only other thing that I did watch was another Marvel property, believe it or not. But Miss Marvel finished its season, and I was also mixed on that. The review score is very high. It's like a 98% Rotten Tomatoes, but they have to include an asterisk with that because they allow reviews for the seasons after people have watched like 2 episodes. And so the Miss Marvel reviews came out after reviewers got screenings for the first 2 episodes, which I might say I would have also given it a really high score after the first 2 episodes because those first 2 were like stylish. They were fun. They were energetic. It was some sort of energy that I hadn't seen in the MCU for a little while. So I was really excited. But the next like 3.5 episodes were not very good. Like the quality just dropped like astronomically. And I think a lot of that has to do with the swap in directors because the first 2 were directed by the same people who left for 3, 4, and 5, but came back for 6. And so you could actually see in 6 how like that energy was brought back, which is so strange, but fascinating to see. The villains were pretty bland. The kind of overarching story seemed a little inconsequential, but like the characters are great. Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel is awesome. And I'm excited to see her interact with the other Avengers characters, notably Captain Marvel, who she's, her character is obsessed with. So that'll be interesting to see next year in the Marvels. But yeah, I left starting positive, but largely mixed again.
Oh, that's too bad. It's weird that you can review the whole season. Like, is that how it works? You just drop one review for the entire season and not like an on individual episode basis?
Yeah, I don't know why they do it like that. Well, I do know why they do it like that because Disney will probably like people to have high hopes and high expectations and come out of the first 2 episodes with praise and drop that review. But I don't know why Rotten Tomatoes aggregates it like that. Yeah. It shouldn't count if they haven't watched, if they're not reviewing the whole season. Yeah. Because I feel like in order to get the full scope of a show, you have to watch the whole season before you could drop a review. I wouldn't say my piece about a show until I've seen all the episodes.
Which is very fair.
Yeah, so it seems weird that they aggregate like that, but whatever. I did want to just quickly mention that the day after this episode comes out is the soft launch anniversary of Snubs and Dubs.
Wow.
1 year for tomorrow, we uploaded the first part of our 2007 episode in the old format, It was on Atonement, a very forgettable movie that will forever be entrenched in Snubs and Dubs history as the first movie we ever covered.
Yeah.
The remaining 4 parts of that episode were released every day after that, so I guess this is kind of our soft launch anniversary week. Our season format anniversary will fall on the day after the release of episode 1 of season 3.
Wow.
Which makes sense since every season is 26 episodes, 2 seasons a year, 52 episodes, blah, blah.
We did technically plan that one.
Yeah.
To an extent. I also do love that the episode that drops the day before the anniversary is called The Edge of Tomorrow. How fitting is that?
That's pretty cool.
That's
wow, look at that.
Pretty sweet.
It's also called Live, Die, Repeat, and all you need is kill. So
we'll get there. For now, we'll sit in how sweet that is.
Yeah, exactly. But Season 2 of Snubs Dubs has been covering the films from the year 2014. And so for episode 24, as we mentioned, we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow. It's also named Live, Die, Repeat. And in other languages, all you need is kill. But Edge of Tomorrow for our sake.
That's the one.
Had you seen it before?
No, for some reason, I distinctly remember seeing trailers for this and thinking, and then I never went to watch it.
That's fair. And I think there was a large failure on the marketing of this movie because, as we've pointed out, there's 3 different titles here. Live, Die, Repeat was a title that they replaced or thought they were replacing Edge of Tomorrow with because they thought that after the initial box office reception wasn't strong, that it was the title that was the issue because people didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So they switched it to Live, Die, Repeat, but then also they kind of said that it's not a new title, it's a subtitle. But then on their like marketing materials, that Live, Die, Repeat was larger than Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know. It was strange.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
And I think a bigger failure of the marketing thing was like when I saw the trailer, I thought that movie looks kind of boring. Also, when I sat down to watch this, I didn't know Tom Cruise was in this. So I don't know if that's a me problem or a marketing problem. But if it was a marketing problem, that's a really big one.
Yeah. Weird. And you watched it last night, right?
I did watch this last night.
Fresh.
It's fresh.
Yeah, I had seen it before. I've actually seen it quite a few times. I think I saw this in theaters. I can't remember vividly though, but this is one that I did watch, and because I knew it had been underseen, I do advise people to watch it, and I've shown people, and I think I recently watched it like only last year, but we got a new 4K copy in the mail from Amazon, and we actually pushed this episode a little bit later because they announced that there was a 4K copy, and so I was like, might as well wait.
We pushed it as late as we could.
Yep, absolutely.
Nicely done. We made it though.
Yeah. Well, do you want to get into it?
Let's just get into this thing.
If you were interested in Edge of Tomorrow or the book it was based on, I've included links to the physical media related to it in the show notes. If you buy through those links, it'll help out our show. Or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow the general link to help out our show in the process. A reminder that this is going to be a spoiler-filled conversation. So if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow yet and you want to, go ahead and do so. I've also included time codes in the show notes so you can skip around to your heart's desire. But without further ado, let's get into it. Edge of Tomorrow is directed by Doug Liman, who's a returning director, similar to Wes Anderson. He directed Swingers.
Right. I knew that name from somewhere.
Yeah. It is written by Christopher McQuarrie, Jez Butterworth, and John Henry Butterworth, based on All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. It stars Tom Cruise as Major William Cage, Emily Blunt as Sergeant Rita Vertasky, Bill Paxton as Master Sergeant Farrell, and Brendan Gleeson as General Brigham. It has a runtime of 113 minutes and released on June 6th, 2014. Jason, what did you think of Edge of Tomorrow?
Now, recall seconds ago when I said I skipped it because the trailer kind of looked like
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. This is a really good action movie.
Yeah.
I was actually really into this, and none of it was what I thought it might be.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those movies where if you haven't heard about it, I would advise you to go in with no information about it, because it is a really cool concept. And I think they execute it really well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. The more you know about it, I think the worse experience you're going to have to some degree. I knew they had like a repeat the day kind of thing, but I didn't know how it worked. So when Tom Cruise got murked really early,
I
was thinking like, oh, what? But there's more movie left. How did this happen?
Yeah.
What do you think, Kyle? What's your thoughts?
I really like it. It's a lot of fun. I'm a sucker for time loop movies. I think if they're executed well, it's a really fun concept. And I think it's really well acted too. Like, especially
Very
Tom
well.
Cruise and Emily Blunt, like they work really well together. And I like the visual aesthetic of the movie. I think it's really cool.
I am the opposite when it comes to time-based movies. I normally hate them. I have a thing against time movies.
Right.
But this one executed it really well in that like the time powers made logical sense in its own universe.
Yeah.
It didn't try to do too much and it explored the idea that it had really well. So I was quite happy with it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to get into the plot?
Let's get into the plot.
All right, so Jason's going to read right through the plot. If you don't need the refresher, you can skip right to the discussion by following the time codes in the show notes. But here's Edge of Tomorrow.
In 2015, aliens called mimics arrive in Germany via an asteroid and swiftly conquer most of continental Europe like I've always wanted. By 2020, the United Defense Forces, a global military alliance established to combat the alien threat, finally achieve a victory over the mimics at Verdun using newly developed mech suits. In Britain, the UDF plans a major invasion of France, and General Brigham orders recently attached Public Affairs Officer Major William Cage to cover it. Cage, having no combat experience, objects. Brigham has Cage arrested and sent to Heathrow Airport, now a military base. Cage awakens to find Brigham has demoted him to a private and assigned him to Master Sergeant Farrell and the Misfit J Squad. The landing in France is a colossal failure. Farrell and J Squad are quickly killed. Cage uses a Claymore mine to kill an unusually large blue mimic, but is mortally wounded by the explosion and covered in the alien's blood. Cage jolts awake to find himself back at Heathrow, reliving the previous morning. His attempts to warn Farrell against the invasion are ignored, and he experiences the loop of dying on the beach and waking up at Heathrow repeatedly. During one loop, Cage tries to save Sergeant Rita Vertasky, a celebrated hero of the Battle of Verdun. She realizes Cage can loop time and orders him to find her next time he wakes up. Cage reawakens and locates Vertasky, who takes him to Dr. Carter, an expert in mimic biology. He explains that the mimics are a superorganism in which the omega controls the cerebrum, while the alpha behaves as the ganglia through which the omega controls ordinary mimics. If an alpha is terminated, the omega resets the day and adjusts its tactics until the battle is won. Cage inadvertently hijacked their ability to reset time through his exposure to an alpha's blood. Vertasky had this ability at Verdun, using it to win the battle before she was wounded and received a blood transfusion, losing the power. She tells Cage to locate and kill the Omega to end the alien invasion. Over many more loops, Vertasky trains Cage to excel in combat. After a frustrating lesson, Cage escapes to London, only to discover that the Mimic will attack there next after the invasion. After seeing visions of a dam in Germany where the Omega is hiding and spending many loops figuring out how to escape the invasion and reach the dam, Cage grows closer to Vertasky, but she is only interested in the mission. Cage flies to the dam alone upon reaching a point where Vertasky is killed no matter what they do. The Omega is not there, and he is ambushed by an Alpha who attempts to strip him of his ability to reset time, but Cage deliberately drowns himself. Cage and Vertasky infiltrate the Ministry of Defense, where Cage convinces Brigham to give him Carter's prototype device that can locate the Omega, but they are pursued by military police on leaving. During the ensuing car chase, Cage uses the device and discovers the Omega is under the Louvre Pyramid in Paris. Cage is seriously injured during the capture and wakes up in a hospital to find he's been given a blood transfusion and he's lost the ability to loop time. Vertasky frees Cage and they recruit J-Squad to help destroy the Omega before the invasion begins. They fly to Paris, where the soldiers sacrifice themselves so that Cage and Vertasky can reach the Louvre before luring away an Alpha standing between them and the submerged Omega. Vertasky kisses Cage to thank him for getting her as far as he did. The Alpha kills Vertasky and mortally wounds Cage, but he manages to drop a belt of grenades that destroys the Omega. As a dying Cage floats down into the Omega's blood, he awakens en route to his first meeting with Brigham, who announces on TV that mimic activity has ceased following a mysterious energy surge in Paris. Cage goes to Heathrow, now a major again, and sees that all of J-Squad is alive. He later finds Vertasky, who doesn't recognize him. Cage laughs. The end.
Wow.
What a movie.
What a movie. I think it was natural for the movie to end with them out of the loop. I felt like as soon as Emily Blunt mentioned that she lost the power by getting a blood transfusion, I feel like it was ultimately going to happen that way.
Oh, it was inevitable that they'd have to finish it without the power.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. But then interesting that they loop back anyways.
Yeah. I'm curious what the book did,
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that was like a happy movie ending. So I didn't mind that it was in there because it's like a minute and a half long. It doesn't really matter. It gives a happy ending to the movie, but I felt like the complete experience is that all the mimics die, but also Vertasky and Cage die. I feel like that's the actual way it probably ends in the book. That can, kind of be more balls out about it. But it made enough sense that I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite parts about this movie?
I really liked how they did the time looping.
Yeah.
I really also enjoy how, like, subtly through the movie, Cage doesn't really tell the full truth with Vertasky.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of conceals some things to manipulate how their run's going just to try and keep her alive longer.
Yeah. And the movie's editing manipulates you in that sense, too, because you don't see every loop that he does. And it works to the favor of the progression of the plot, but it also works in the favor of confusing the audience as well as Vertasky, because you don't know how many loops he's done or how often they've been there and done this. And so it's cool to see.
Yeah. And like, it's fun not knowing exactly how the run's going too.
Yeah.
Because it's too easy to kind of let you feel like you're safe with the run until you get to the point where it's off the charts.
Yeah.
But when they have that first run where they drive down to the cottage and like they kind of reveal a bit about themselves emotionally.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going. And that's a really interesting part of a movie that otherwise is really easy to feel in control of.
Yeah. And it's cool because at the end, Emily Blunt's Vertasky says a line that, like, you're a good man, Cage. I wish I could have gotten to know you better. But to him, like, he's been with her for probably months, years, maybe, like just day after day, getting to know this woman. And ultimately, I think he fell in love with her and caring for her quite deeply. And then at the end of it, like they don't know each other.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
And it's a fun mirroring of a line that he says to her earlier when he says, I wish I didn't know you. Because he has to watch her die like hundreds of thousands of times.
Yes.
And then every time, despite the fact that he's clearly in love with her, every day he has to meet her and do it again because she doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
That's brutal. Like, I've been rejected before, but that's another level.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it doesn't explain it, but you kind of hope at the end, because it is like a happy movie ending in a sense, that he would explain to her what happened, what they did, and where they are now. But after that conversation, does she continue that relationship? Like, does she try to get to know him at that point then?
I can't imagine that she does.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing really keeping them together. Whereas every other time before that, they had to complete the mission. So of course they're going to spend the day together, which gives them time. But now, like, she's a badass. She's the full metal bitch.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a reason to hang out with this guy. She's probably going to just go find other aliens to kill. She's going to be the alien crash landing on another alien's planet and taking it over just for entertainment. Okay. Bill Paxton.
What a guy.
Very small role.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
God damn, the man kills it.
Yeah, he's great in every little bit part that he has. And I'm glad we got to see him twice this season too, because he was in Nightcrawler too. And yeah, he's just like, it's in his eyes. I don't know. It's just like the way he is as this sergeant, where he's giving this performance essentially, but it's not a performance, but he is like holding back information that he knows. And it's just, I don't know. It's really great.
It is really good. And like, rip to a legend. This one goes out for Bill Paxton.
Yeah. We're pouring one out.
Yeah. Okay. I will say one thing that like irked me a little bit in the use of the time looping is that after they got to Brigham and they got the device from him and they found out it was in Paris, the first thought, before anything went poorly, the first thing I thought to myself was, kill yourself.
Yeah,
just kill yourself.
Just
There's no reason to follow this. Like, you're in so deep now.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to murder you. Just kill yourself and start over again so you have more time as well.
Yeah, like, honestly, why isn't that just like an absolute hair trigger point? Like, when they were in a chase, like as soon as they figured it out. Why isn't that gun straight to your head and being done? But wow.
I mean, whatever. They had to find a way for him to lose his blood.
Yeah.
So it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I just wish they had like a little bit of a better way to tie that over.
Yeah,
but that's a pretty small
Yeah, no,
thing.
that's fair. What did you think of the creature designs?
I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I wasn't like insanely blown away by them, but I thought it was creative. Their fighting ability was so new.
Yeah.
It was really strange because I still don't know what they do. I think they have long grappling arms.
Yeah.
I think
like
it's a lot of stabbing.
Yeah.
But it's hard to really say. But it was really like creative design, so I dug it.
Yeah,
What did you think?
I liked it too. I liked how they kind of had like a neon look in their like mouth and how they like kind of glitched.
Mhm.
They were almost like technological in a sense, but
Yeah.
also very natural. And it was just a cool mix
Mhm.
because I guess that was kind of a brain functioning too, because like when it flickers, is that maybe like a signal getting to that?
Yeah,
node?
like they're essentially motor neurons.
Yeah.
If I remember grade 12 biology correctly, I think they're motor neurons.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did operate in a really cool way and they had like a cool color look to them.
Mhm.
But I think like one of the big strengths of this movie was how it looked in both like CGI and practical effects.
Yeah.
The scene at the Louvre at the end was really, really cool.
Mhm.
And I still don't know how much was CGI and how much is practical, but it felt like a lot more than the average run-of-the-mill action movie was.
Yeah, and I know they did a lot of practical things for this movie, like the exosuits are practical.
Mhm.
And so I think they probably made a lot of effort to make it as practical as possible, which really translate onto the screen. Because when you have like absurd concepts like flickery alien guys,
Yeah.
like you have to make most of it as realistic as possible just to compensate for that absurdity.
Mhm.
But I think they got a really good balance.
Yeah.
The CGI that they did have, I probably didn't even notice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, if a lot of action movies ripped off the general vibe and feel of this, I would be a happy boy.
Yeah, paced really well.
Yes, very well.
Yeah, and that's a lot on the editing and like I mentioned before, how you don't see the full loop every time. I
Mhm.
feel like that would get super repetitive.
God.
If every time he died,
Yeah.
he started at the beginning. They chose moments to start him at the beginning, and I think that was just to show the reaction that he had to that previous death.
Yeah.
And then he kind of continued on.
My favorite restart was the one where he first tries to escape to find Vertasky and he rolls under the truck but misses a bit and crushes his hand. Oh, I love that one because you get the feeling that he probably did that 10,000 times.
Yeah.
Where he forgot the right thing to say to one person once and completely changes the loop. So he just has to find the fastest way to kill himself to restart.
Yeah.
Because it felt like this movie does a really good job of making watching it feel like you're trying to grind out something in a video game.
Yeah.
Where like you have the same frustrations when he messes up in the training or when he makes a mistake. It's like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
There was like 30 useful minutes in that and I got to restart that all.
It's funny you mentioned video game because that is, I think, part of the original concept that I think it's a novel. It might be a manga. I feel like it's a short novel. It was obviously a Japanese writer, but I think they originally had that idea of a video game that when you die, you just start over from the point where you began, and put that concept into like a real lifetime loop movie. And it really works.
Mm-hmm. I think like the acting in this is obviously really good.
Yeah.
But what also strengthens it is that through Scientology, Time Cruise does restart every time he dies. I think I just called him Time Cruise.
You did just call him Time Cruise.
Fuck, that's really good. Oh, if only I'd meant to do that. But he has achieved sentience of the Scientology order where if he dies, he just restarts the day, which is why he's still making insanely high grossing movies at whatever age he is.
Well, I actually have a fact about that. About his, his money.
No.
So, do you have any other points or do you want to?
Generally, just kind of gushing about how fun this was.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm like, I struggle to find the flaws sometimes. The third act, when you compare it to when they're in the loops, it's a little less fun, but it is still a very exciting third act and a little bit predictable, that last bit. But overall, like, it's just fun to be in this world, in this loop. And the two actors, the two leads are like really good.
Yeah. I think it falls victim to like the kind of thing that happens when you adapt a movie from a book where like you have to make creative cuts. And normally that leads to a less satisfying ending because you still need to follow a novel that spent more time developing other things. And like the ending was a little bit of a whiff, but it was so short and filled with enough action that like I was totally fine with how it went.
Yeah, because like when you're translating, you lose a little bit of information. There was one fact that I read that I didn't put in here, but they discuss in the novel why Vertasky uses a sword instead of just guns. And it's because she found that when she was looping so many times, she would run out of ammo. And so she found that a melee weapon was more reliable. So she just figured out how to kill them with a big sword.
That makes sense because you'd rather just like you have enough time to figure out how to do that. So you might as well. That's kind of clever. I wish that was in the movie because that's like one line of dialogue to get that in there. Well. What did the critics and audiences think, Kyle?
Well, they were quite high on it. Critics, 91% Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences, 90% Rotten
Damn.
Tomatoes. So yeah, breaking 90s. IMDb 7.9, Metacritic 71.
Yeah, I dig it. It's hard to be offended by this unless you are very pro mimic. If you wanted them to win, you're going to have a rough experience.
Box office on a budget of $178 million.
Ooh.
Big budget.
Yeah.
It made $367 million. So not probably the return that they wanted.
Especially on that big of a budget and with this good of a movie, you normally want to see like double that, something in that neighborhood. So even though that still made like a bunch of money, I wonder how much of that was marketing.
I think it was a lot. I think a lot of people were confused as to what this movie was, and they were afraid to approach it because of that. Yeah. That put it at number 20 of the box office for 2014. So actually decently high. But
still really good.
Yeah.
It's just like with that budget, you might want to aim for more, but it's good.
This was Tom Cruise's first movie outside the Mission Impossible films to gross over $100 million domestically since War of the Worlds, which was in 2005.
Goddamn. Tom Cruise loves fighting aliens. Yeah. He's good at it.
The next movie outside of the Mission Impossible films to do that, Top Gun Maverick, which is happening right now.
Yeah.
Technically, he has a minor role in Tropic Thunder, which was in 2008, which also passed $100 million domestically. I think this fact was just about him being a leading role.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but yeah, I mean, all the Mission Impossible movies are making over $100 million domestically. Easy. But yeah, Tom Cruise is a bit of a draw sometimes. So.
Did Jerry Maguire not?
Well, that was in the 90s. And so this was his first one since War of the Worlds. I think it did, though. I think Jerry Maguire
I'm pretty sure I forgot chronologically that whenever that War of the Worlds came out would be after the 90s because it was the 2000s. Got a little looped on time there.
All right. Well, how will we give our scores, though?
Ooh, that is a big question. And Kyle, we're kicking that over to you to start with your enjoyment.
I give this a 4 for my enjoyment.
I'm also slapping this down a 4. This was fun, action-packed, but not the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Yeah, but it was fun. What's your craft?
I gave it a 4 as well. I think it's really well shot. The CGI, great. The score was good too. I didn't notice it that much, but I think it fit the world fine.
I'm slapping this at 3.5.
Fair.
There were a lot of things working to keep it going strong, but nothing really stole my attention, which normally, if you want a 4, you gotta wow me. This only woed me.
Okay.
What is your execution?
I gave this a 4 as well. Really well acted, really well written. I did make note earlier that the finale was a little bit predictable and not as fun as the first bit. So I think it lost a point for that. But yeah, 4.
Yep, that's fair. I'm in the exact same reasoning as you, but I have yet to decide between 3.5 and 4. But to be a contrarian, I'm doing 3.5.
Okay.
For the exact same notes. What's your rewatchability?
Well, I've had a bit of a theme here. It's a 4. I think it's really easy to rewatch. It's a lot of fun. I've not had my enjoyment lessened on it even after multiple rewatches, which is interesting because it does seem like a movie that your first time is going to be the best time to watch it because you're learning and you're with the characters making these revelations. And so after you know everything, it's probably not as exciting, but I still do really enjoy rewatching this, and I have a few times, so it's a 4.
Yeah, solid. I'm going to 3.5 this one. Again, that's my theme, other than the one time I did give it a 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel kind of the same. Although I don't care for the entirety of this movie, but some parts are so very fun. I really enjoyed growing with Tom Cruise as you realize like the rules of repeating time and what that entails him to do. But I don't know if it has the same value when you already know what's going to be coming next.
Yeah.
Even though Tom Cruise knows what's coming next. Well, Kyle, you have given this a 16 out of 20 for an 80%. I have given this a 14.5 out of 20 for a 73%.
All right.
Would you like your rankings?
Sure. Give me my rankings.
Well, there's only 2 spots left. All right, top to bottom, you have Whiplash, Grand Budapest, Paddington, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, Dawn, Interstellar, Chef, Gone Girl, Nightcrawler, Under the Skin, Lego, Selma, John Wick, What We Do in the Shadows, Boyhood, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Snowpiercer, Babadook, Imitation Game, Big Hero 6, Foxcatcher, American Sniper, The Theory of Everything. Where is The Edge of Tomorrow / Live, Die, Repeat / whatever the third one was?
All you need is kill. I thought about this a lot, and it's going to be outside my top 10. It is my new number 11. Over Under the Skin, under Nightcrawler.
Interesting.
Right next to the other Bill Paxton movie.
Aw, that's real sweet. We keep our Paxtons together.
Yeah.
All right, my rankings would then be Grand Budapest, Whiplash, Paddington, Dawn, Interstellar, Gone Girl, Nightcrawler, John Wick, Selma, Guardians, What We Do in the Shadows, Do Under the Skin, Chef, Lego, Babadook, Captain America, Snowpiercer, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Boyhood, Big Hero 6, The Theory of Everything, Imitation Game, Foxcatcher, American Sniper. I am going to toss a little bit lower, but for me, Edge of Tomorrow is going to edge out Chef, but stay under the skin. So that will make it my new number 13.
Nice.
And that only leaves one spot left on the ranking chart.
We'll find out next week.
Oh, yes, we will.
All right. Well, Letterboxd reviews?
Let's hit some Letterboxd reviews.
This was one of those where I really struggled to find fun quality ones in the upper review levels and in the review activity. I found that the ones that were highly liked just weren't that entertaining. I don't know.
Sometimes that happens with Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I think there's like a niche. It has to be a kind of niche movie for the really good shit to hit.
Yeah.
Because it's like a lowest common denominator kind of thing for bigger movies where like only okay memes are going to make it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has the almost average Letterboxd score of 3.7 out of 5.
Oh, yeah, it
and
does.
I have 3 really low rated reviews.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is a half star by Ben. I've tried so hard to like this movie, but for the life of me, I cannot figure out why everyone on Reddit rides its dick so hard. This movie sucked. I walked out of it when I saw it in theaters. I watched it 4 times through since I first saw it, and it still sucks. Ben, you watched a movie 5 times.
You are such a dedicated hater. I've never put that much energy into disliking something. God, he's forgiving, though. You can't offend this man because he will give you 7 chances to apologize and make up for it. He is a forgiver. Wow.
Oh, man. I haven't even watched it that many times. And I like this movie.
Yeah. I may not watch it again anytime soon, and you probably will have watched another 12 times before I see it a second time.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
1 star added by Life is a Duck. I watched this movie in a hospital bed, and the experience was worse than what put me in the hospital.
I mean, you can get put in the hospital for some pretty cool and fun things. So that's a mixed bag. I need to know what put him there first. Was it a skateboarding trick? Was it watching a skateboarding trick? Because that would be the worst one. I could see that would be a low bar.
All right, this is my last one. 1.5 stars and a like, I may add, by Chadthony. There was no edging.
Okay, I like Chadthony.
Academy Awards. Did it?
The way that was phrased makes me think ain't.
Nope.
Ain't at all.
It did not. It was nominated at the other Academy, the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films for the Saturn Awards. It was nominated for 7 Saturn Awards: Best Science Fiction Film, Best Actress Emily Blunt, Best Actor Tom Cruise, Best Director Doug Liman, Best Writing, Best Editing, Best Special Effects. It only won Best Editing, but that was it.
You know what? That's fine. They deserved the nominations for sure. I don't remember what won those, though I'm sure we've gone over it already.
Probably.
But that sounds fair to me. What say you?
I really like its editing win. I think it had really good editing. Yeah, overall, that's fine, though. I'm not sure if it needed any Academy Awards. I'm kind of surprised, but not surprised about visual effects.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of hidden visual effects that the people that were watching it, didn't notice. And because maybe the creatures weren't the most astonishing visual effects wise, they overlooked it a little bit. But yeah.
This is like a possibility in nominations. If it got some, that's cool. But like, I'm not raging to Twitter to be angry online about this one. I think it's probably fine that it got some Saturn love and nothing else.
Yeah. Interesting facts.
Ooh.
While filming the car chase scene, which involves a minivan, Emily Blunt was instructed to drive fast and then to take a right-hand turn so that the van would shake. However, Blunt missed her mark and drove the car right into a tree. She later said that it was both hilarious and terrifying as she almost killed Tom Cruise, who was in the passenger seat at the time, but both of them just started laughing it off after the incident happened.
Okay, first of all, you can't kill Tom Cruise. They almost killed Tom Cruise. No, it didn't.
Yeah.
You almost killed a god? I doubt it.
Director Doug Liman wanted to do the film because it showed a role that Tom Cruise hadn't done yet. Someone very bad at what he does.
Honestly, I was surprised when he started off a little baby boy. I didn't think Tom Cruise would be into that kind of thing where he plays a little whiny bitch. Like, he gets badass at the end, obviously. But I was still like kind of taken aback that he would be willing to do like a character who's trying to run from battle.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's cool to see.
He's got range. He's got badasses and people who become badasses. Wow.
As typical, Tom Cruise did all his own stunts. Director Doug Liman said he could make an amazing career out of it.
Oh, Doug Liman, you cheeky bitch. I like that.
During an early sequence in the film, Emily Blunt punches a young soldier who says, "Bloody hell, it's the Full Metal Bitch." That part was played by her real-life younger brother who had a cameo in the film.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'm sure like that's a great role to put your sibling in. Somebody you can call a full metal bitch and then also punch them.
Yeah. Oh, that's good because you don't need to act on that.
Yeah.
That is pent-up sibling frustration from both ends that gets therapized right on out.
Yeah, that was great. I read that fact before I watched it again, and it was kind of fun to see because it looks like she really goes for it.
Oh, she probably does. Labor laws don't apply to family.
Yeah. Two more. Tom Cruise didn't want the exosuits to be too CGI, so it would be more real to the audience. He showed up 2 months early to research and develop the suit. He thought its weapons were fun and cool. Emily Blunt was unprepared for the weight of the suit, which was between 85 to 90 pounds, and admitted that after putting on the metal suit for the first time, she started crying because it was so heavy and she would be required to perform action scenes in it for 5 months. She was jokingly told by Tom Cruise to stop being such a wuss.
Oh, that he developed them?
Yeah,
Tomathan Cruise?
Tomathan Cruise.
I'm scared that this guy is going to replace every job on the planet by himself before the year 2050. The entire economy is just Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I don't know why he started in movies, but he's coming for you.
I find it funny too that he was part of the development of it, and then he's telling them to stop being such a wuss. Like, obviously, you have a say in this. Like, you put effort into this. You didn't need to make it 85 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
You also didn't need to make all of them 85 pounds. Hers could have been different. She already has special outfits. Why couldn't you have changed hers? Okay, I feel like when Tom Cruise in 100 years ages 20 years and is ready to take like older, like general, like president level things, he'll just become president and then they'll make a movie around that. Like, he's going to rule this planet one day.
Oh my God. The last fact I had, you mentioned it in the start of your plot, but this film takes place in 2020. Guess it sucks no matter what reality we're in. So, any final thoughts?
I don't know. Some days I wouldn't mind a mimic coming up and putting a giant hole through my chest. You know what I mean? We could have got alien warfare. Instead, we got COVID. Terrible trade.
Yeah.
I know, Kyle.
I mean, the alien war was in Europe, so, you know, we
never got a taste of it. How come they didn't even try for North America?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just landed there.
Yeah.
The asteroid, but
yeah.
I think they announced a sequel for this. Would you see a sequel to this?
I'm curious what they're going to make a sequel of it because I'm good.
Yeah.
This to me feels completely wrapped up in a very healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like the aliens still exist off planet, so they're either going to go fight them somewhere or more aliens are going to come, but like,
yeah.
No one knows this happened. So like what?
True.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm even more intrigued. Yeah. Yes, I will see it. Damn it. I just talked myself into it by asking questions. How about you, Kyle? Would you go see it?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'd be there. Yeah. I would make sure to watch it in a theater because this one was missed by a lot of people in theaters. And I think a lot of people found it afterwards on streaming. So hopefully if they do a sequel, which, I mean, the fact that they have the idea of a sequel or that the notion of actually making a sequel of this movie exists means that people have probably given it a little bit love later. So
yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely see it. Any other final thoughts?
Nope, that's Edge of Tomorrow for me. How about you?
I think that's it.
All
and it's
right.
funny because we're on the edge of not the finale, the second to last movie. We're on the edge of the last movie covered.
Still monumental.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you all for listening to season 2, episode 24 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, etc. We're also on GoodPod, so make sure to check us out there and join our official Discord. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow or on this episode. So please send us a tweet or a message with a question, recommendation, or anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobias on Twitter, and Jason is at Wendy_Mills. Of course, all of those links are in the show notes. Make sure to leave a 5-star review, share the show to everyone you know, and check back next week for another episode. Here's a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
We had it all. You were a movie star, remember?
Who was this guy? He used to be Birdman.
I like that poster.
You wrote this adaptation?
I did, yeah.
And you're directing and starring in your adaptation. That's ambitious.
Are you afraid people will say you're doing this play to battle the impression that you're a washed-up comic strip character? Absolutely not. That's why 20 years ago I said no to Birdman 4.
That's right. Next time we're talking about the winner of Best Picture at the 87th Academy Awards, Birdman. We made it. We're here. Make sure to watch it before next episode. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap. Bye.
Bye for now.